It's that most lovely time of the year again, and the best time of the week. So this is the Breaking Down Security Podcast. I'm Brian, and as always with me is Ms. Berlin, Mr. Boettcher.
Hello.
So, for those of you who are new to the podcast, we tried to talk about topics dealing with blue team people, red team people, compliance, anything, under the sun that us security folks have to touch, whether it be a red teaming engagement or anything. And I know a lot of you are listening because there's a little something we're doing this year that we've done for the past 3 years that some of you are very interested in finding out how to do, which is our Derbycon CTF and our auction, our charity auction for Rural Technology Fund. Also, I want to quickly change tracks here. Ms. Berlin's also got something going on at Derbycon.
I do.
She got a lot of things going on.
I know.
I seem to always have a lot of things going on.
Well, this is new. This is special this year.
It is.
And this is, is it one of a kind? You've done other wellness stuff at other conferences.
I have not done anything to this extent.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay. What are you doing at Derbycon then?
So it is called the Mental Health and Wellness Workshop, or Wellbeing, whatever, wellness, wellbeing, kind of interchangeable. And my idea is to kind of have like just a chill out space that isn't loud and has just like anxiety reducing stuff that you can do, and just like learning about mental health issues. So we're like splitting it up into, so far I have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have like 12 speakers so far.
Wow.
That are doing lightning talks.
Oh my goodness.
I have 5 people interested in leading group discussions. So as opposed to just doing a lightning talk where you go in, somebody like talks at you for 15 to 30 minutes, the group discussions will be held around a table or two, and the person leading the group discussion is going to have questions that drive the discussion, and talking points and information to hand out, and that kind of stuff is the idea.
Very nice.
Okay. Yeah. And we're doing things like chair yoga, and I'm going to have all day Saturday, I'm going to have chair massages. I'm going to have 4 different massage therapists there doing chair massages. That's like a first come, first serve thing.
You said chair yoga. Is the chair doing yoga?
Chair? No, it's for like all of us that sit in our work desk and chairs all day, and It's yoga that you can do at your desk.
Okay, all right, you got me. Sorry, I'm like, how do you? Are you?
You do yoga with your chair.
Yeah. Okay.
You can read emails at the same time if you're.
Yes, exactly.
I'm limber enough. I don't.
And I kind of want to do regular yoga too.
Yeah.
And if I can find somebody to lead that, then great. If not, we're gonna probably just. I usually watch YouTube when I do yoga. So there's a really good YouTube channel that I follow that's good for doing yoga, like Very beginner cool. yoga, right? You don't have to be wearing anything super fancy or know how to balance on one leg forever or anything.
Right. Right. Well, I listen to a YouTube channel that it's sponsored by Cascadia Sec, and they have a Twitter at Cascadia Sec that you can go to
right?
and find all kinds of interesting things about.
All right.
Yeah. So wait, when I donated to this. It met its goal, right?
It did. I had an initial goal of 5,000.
Okay.
And then it hit 6, and so I upped it to 10. I'm like, might as well see if I can hit 10.
All right.
Because, first off, chair massages are extremely expensive when you're paying for 4 people's time all day.
Right.
So that used a good amount of my budget. I'm not going to go over or anything. I figure, if I can't do this for $5,000, I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
Especially since it's the first year and all.
We could just do like normal people and pocket $4,000 and then try to do something with the other two.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm also like I am covering all of my bases with that. I am going to publicly like list the receipts and like the balance statement and all that kind of stuff, just so everybody knows like what, like I didn't pay off my house with it or whatever.
Right.
But then we also have people doing like a table with teaching you about like essential oils and like natural remedies, and then the one craft that we have so far, other than like I bought a bunch of like adult coloring books and that kind of stuff, the one craft that we have is this guy named Steve. He's going to be teaching people how to make stuff with paracord. Okay. Because he said he finds it really like calming, right, to do like the repetitive motions and make the paracord stuff. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Like that would be pretty neat little class type thing.
Like the wristbands and stuff you see, the ones made of paracord. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So he's going to pick out like 4 or 5 different things that people can do with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it just keeps on growing.
Nice.
Like it's incredible the amount of people that want to help out and just giving me a bunch of different ideas on handouts and activities and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome.
I'm super excited, and it might actually happen as a village next year besides Las Vegas.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yep.
So one of your speakers that you're going to have, her name is Mandy Logan, and she's on our Slack channel, and we'll tell you how to get to our Slack channel later on in the show. But she spent years recovering from massive brain injuries and strokes, including a brainstem stroke, which I don't know how many of you know, but brainstem strokes are pretty much you don't live. You don't survive.
Right.
Or if you do, you're in a vegetative state. So she's going to come and talk at your wellness conference. She's going to do a lightning talk about how she learned how to basically do everything all over again, and what it took for her to get there. So she's going to be there in her wheelchair with her service animal, and what's her name? What's her dog's name? Trevor. That's it. So come on by and find out how somebody came back from the other side. Basically, they crossed this. She said, she crossed this conscious subconscious barrier to make what one doctor called 45 years of recovery in 5. So, she's also, going to probably be networking because she's going to be looking for a job eventually. So it'll be fun to see her experience and how she's, persevered and came back. So those are the kinds of talks. Well, I won't say those are the kinds of talks, but those are talks that you're going to hear about with regards to recovery and coping with things, and maybe some, how to cope with things like addiction and all that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, what is our topic for this week? We usually try to do 1 or 2 topics, and we try to intersperse some news in here just for shits and giggles. Let's see. Mr. Boettcher has an interesting discussion about lockpicking.
Well, we've never done a discussion on lockpicking. I thought it'd be a good opportunity since I went to DEF CON and hung around the lockpicking village quite a lot.
It's a good lockpick village.
Oh yeah,
it's
they do
really
a fantastic job.
Right next to the tamper village, where you you try to get into things with tamper-proof devices, like the tape where if you peel it off, it says void, so people know that someone has been in there. The little clips that you put on latches to see if someone's been in there, and then you can put something on your luggage to see if TSA went in there. Of course, there's the hack, which is a ballpoint pen, where you don't have to. So there's a lot of cool stuff in the lockpick village as well as the tamper village, and they had at DEF CON. And Amanda, you got pictures of it where people try to disable a bomb.
Right.
So they had a little baby on top of the bomb, and they had a bomb underneath the baby, and they were trying to disable the bomb, and I guess they had 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do it. And
I don't think that baby ever survived.
If the bomb the baby went below 55 miles an hour, it exploded.
It exploded many times.
Oh,
I think there were
man.
480 deaths and no survivors when the last time I was there.
Oh my God.
So
Yep.
today's topic is lockpick. So we're going to talk about the basics of picking locks.
Okay.
Shall we begin?
Yes, please. Because
right.
I'm afraid that this is a little visual. So,
well, I'm going to try to explain it. Now we've got a few links in the show notes if you want more on lockpicking, but I'll just go. I think every person and there you go. You're showing me your lockpick set.
That's right.
Right. You get tension wrench.
Yep.
And you've got all a set of picks.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what you need to pick a lock: tension wrench or most locks, tension wrench and picks. All right. So I think every person in security should know at least the basics on how to pick a lock and how lock picking actually works.
And how easy it is.
And
is it easy?
Very easy.
It's incredibly easy.
Now,
okay.
You have some people do it competitively, right? And a lot of people are better than others, and it takes a certain skill to do it well. You to exceed that novice bar and go into the expert. Right. So the basics of a lock are: you have a cylinder. Now just picture a pipe with some holes in the top. All right, that's your cylinder, and that cylinder needs to turn in order to open the lock.
Right.
You have your driver pins and your key pins. The driver pins are all the same size. They're you have springs in there as well that push the driver pins down, and your key pins are of variable sizes. So the trick is to get all of the key pins to line up with the top of the cylinder, and that way the cylinder can be turned. Your driver pins and your key pins, all your key pins are 100% on the inside of the cylinder, and all your driver pins on top are on the outside of the cylinder, and that allows the cylinder to turn. Now, what makes lock picking possible? Why are people able to pick locks in the first place? Well, the answer is, go ahead, Brian.
Well, I can only pick locks when I'm in my cat suit, running around, all Hollywood-like. And it only takes me a couple of seconds to actually do it. So, is that the case? I mean, is it as realistic as they show in Hollywood? Where I'm walking around in my Lycra cat suit and
you have a Lycra cat suit?
Don't you?
Maybe
everyone does.
Guess what? We're all wearing to Derbycon.
Well, I have to wear my ninja suit, so when I'm picking locks, I can do it in like 5 seconds. Otherwise, I'm just sitting like this, and it takes me hours. So so a lock has to be manufactured, and of course, I mentioned a cylinder. That cylinder has to turn, and as a result of being fabricated, there are flaws in that manufacturing of the locks. And some locks are better than others based on how much effort the company puts into manufacturing those locks. Right. So if you get a really cheap lock, it's going to have a lot of flaws in it. Now, what I mean by flaws is they have to actually drill holes into a solid piece of steel or metal, right, from the top in a line. So if the line were perfect in every way, then you really couldn't pick that lock effectively. Maybe you could, like an expert, but it would be extremely difficult. And the better locks are better made. They're more expensive and they're harder to pick. Right.
So these flaws that I'm talking about, imagine a line of holes in this pipe, right? This cylinder, and they're not lined up properly. Now I can exaggerate by putting one a little bit to the right of the line, a little bit to the left of the line, right on the line, and so forth. So it's those flaws in both the cylinder holes and the pins themselves even that allow locks to be broken into relatively easily if you know how to do it. Mm-hmm. So the method that you use is to take your tension wrench and turn the the cylinder ever so slightly so that the first pin has, I guess, comes in contact with the housing, right? And in theory, there's only one pin. If you turn it, the one that's more to one side as you turn, that pin comes in contact with the housing or the cylinder, and none of the others do.
Right.
They're still kind of loose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that allows you to put your pick in there and push that one up until it lets loose.
Right.
Okay. And that means that driver pin is exactly on the top of the cylinder and the key pin is below it. Right. And then you move on to your next pin. You don't know which pin it is, which driver pin or key pin it is that's now coming in contact, and you release that one. And then you move on and you release the next one, and then you release the next one, all while putting just slight amount of tension with your tension wrench on the cylinder. And then once you're done, it allows you to turn the cylinder and open the lock.
So let me ask you a question about people who are lock picking for the first time. What are some of the problems that they come up with when they're first doing it?
Well, they could they don't have experience enough to know how many pins there are.
Right.
Now you can be given a kit that says, okay, this is a 2-pin lock, or start with a 1-pin lock. Those are the easiest, right?
Right.
And then you have a 2-pin lock, you can go up to 5, 6 pins, whatever. And it obviously it gets harder the more pins there are. So you have to know where those pins are. You kind of have to get used to the feel of what it feels like inside there, and that you're actually manipulating the pins and not just doing things at random.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Like a 3-pin cheap lock, you could probably just stick one of your, you showed me your lock picks, one of your curvy lock picks.
Right.
It goes up and down like a saw.
Mm-hmm.
Those are relatively easy to do with a cheaper lock, maybe 3 pins or even 4. Stick it in there, kind of jiggle it randomly, put a little bit of tension,
right,
and you might get lucky and bust open the lock in 3 seconds. Right?
My biggest thing with the lock picks, especially now, even when I'm still doing them, is and the person who runs a lockpick village, one of them goes by the name of Miss Wendy Knox Everett, who I work with at my company at Leviathan. She told me that I put too much tension on the tension wrench.
Yes, and that happens a lot.
Yeah, and if you do that, she says that you really don't need more than just very little tension. I mean, and I was, when I was doing it, I was like ranking on the tension wrench, and I was like, oh, I'm not getting anything. She's like, yeah, because you're not allowing the lock to move by locking up the tension wrench and pushing the lock over with the tension wrench too hard, the pins aren't going to move. They stay in a locked state inside the lock itself, and they don't move properly. So she's like, yeah, you gotta relax that. It's like you just need to rest your finger on it for a lot of the most part. And I find that I've done better. I actually went to Tool TOOOL website and got some of the starter progressive locks, which I'm going to go ahead and do this because I don't do this very often. But
are we live?
What's that?
Are we live? Are you picking a lock?
Live, and I'm shooting from the hip here. If you don't win the Derbycon ticket for the CTF, the second place will be a set of progressive basic locks. So that's second prize. So that's an $80 value. And if you win, you just let me know. We'll figure it out. But it's an $80 locks set, which is really easy. It goes from 1 to 6 pins. And the advanced locks, I haven't even begun to try to hack, because they have like the what was that you said? They have driver pins and key pins in them, whereas the basic locks just have like a single pin, from what I've seen. So if you don't win the CTF and you come in second place, then you win a set of locks. So there you go. So
Excellent. So he's trying.
I'm sorry, I got a little uncomfortable here. Ms. Berlin was giving me the mom look, so
I wasn't giving you the mom look. I was giving the teenager the mom
very
look
important.
Because he couldn't be quiet.
Right. Okay.
If you're putting pressure on the tension wrench with your thumb and your thumb's starting to lose circulation, that's way too much pressure. Right. Just a little bit of pressure on there, and that'll allow you to attempt to find the one pin, in theory, the one pin that is pushed up against the housing.
Right.
And then once you release that, it will click a little bit, move on to the next pin.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got to find that pin. You don't know which one it is, but you kind of play with it a little. The other pins that aren't under duress from the housing, you can move them up and they'll move back down easily. But the one that's under duress, you'll move it up and it'll click a little bit right into place. All right. So again, the theory behind these locks is the theory behind a lot of security that everyone deals with. Everyone who listens to this show is that we have applications and physical security tools that have flaws in them, and they are hackable.
Right. Yep.
And that's So that's what we got to try to do is first of all find these flaws and mitigate them as much as we can.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's a great skill to have, or at least know of. So if you get if you rent a what are they called, storage building, and you put a cheap lock on it, those can be picked right away. You need to know which locks are good and which ones are crap.
Right. Yep.
So this will help in that.
Well, the other thing about lockpicking I found is I tend to gesture and like my hands do a lot if I'm not doing something with them. So the lockpicking gives my hands something to do when I'm sitting there fiddling or talking to somebody in a meeting. I'll have the tension wrench, just lightly press with my finger, and I'll be in there, poking around on the 5 or 6 pin. I think that's what I'm up to now is like the 5 pin basic that I haven't figured out how to get the 5 or the 6 yet. I'm getting to it, but yeah, I'll be sitting there poking around on the 3 or 4 during a meeting, and I'll pop it during the meetings when I'm doing those. And I find it's better because if I don't have something to do with my hands, then I tend to make a lot of noise, and it's annoying for me. So
you don't say woohoo, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
I do. I have said woohoo during the client meeting. I was like, "Oh, sorry, I picked the lock," and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So yeah. So
as long as you can listen at the same time as you're playing,
right.
Yeah, I don't need my hands to listen.
In the show notes, there are some links to the tool site. They do have some things for sale, like at some of the conventions I went to. For example, the padlock that's clear was selling for $50. Yep. Tool has them for $20.
Nice.
So you can get better deals there. And anyway, I recommend that lockpicking set as well. The other link is sort of a visualization. If you can get past the banner ads and the pop-ups, they're trying to sell you a lockpick set.
Right.
I don't know. It's up to you. I wouldn't hold it against them, but they do have some really cool visualization there.
Nice.
A lot of I talked to JGOR at DEF CON, and I asked him which picks did he prefer, the ones with the rubber handles or the ones without. And he says he gets a better feel on the ones without the rubber handles.
Yeah.
I guess it allows...
I have to switch to the rubber handle ones after a while. Otherwise, they start the regular ones just start killing my fingers.
Yeah. So it's whatever your preference is, I guess.
I've never not known any that didn't have just metal on them. So.
Right.
I've known people to dip the ends in different types of rubber, or wrap them in tape, or do whatever too, if they don't come like that.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
So anyway, there's that. Amanda, pick your favorite or a random. Pick a random upper, lower number special. Just pick a random character.
Oh. Octothorpe.
Okay. So Octothorpe. Excellent.
boy,
Is that not what you're looking for? Or
You're I don't even know what that is,
it's a
but
pound
anyway.
sign, dude.
It's the pound sign. Hashtag.
Okay. I did not know. Hey, I learned something.
Yeah.
The pound sign. So if you're doing the CTF for breaking down security, for a chance to win a Derbycon ticket, you may want to know what the binary representation of the pound sign is.
Ooh.
So just keep that in mind.
Very sexy. Very
That's it.
sexy. Okay, and we're going to go along.
I helped with a flag that I didn't even know I was helping with.
Yep, that's it. Oh, so it's configurable. Okay, very cool. All right, so we're gonna shift gears. So we're gonna talk a little bit about news. Mr. Boettcher actually has an audio segment with Jay GOR. Is that his name? Did I say that right?
No.
Oh, fuck.
I don't think so.
How do you pronounce his last name?
Don't ask me. I just call him JGOR.
Oh, you kill me, dog. Okay, I'll have to hunt it up. Let me see. Anyway, so you had some audio from Hacker Summer Camp that you did an interview with Mr. JGOR. So
Right. So he is the national lockpick champion.
wow.
So my first question to him was, and he graciously agreed to have a short interview with me at DEF CON. My first question was, what does it take to be the national lockpick champion?
Wow.
So he's very gracious, and you know he basically said, well, it's a combination of a lot of things. But anyway, I'll let him describe it.
Yeah. J. Wolfgang. I'm going to say Gorlick.
Wait a minute. He was at DEF CON?
He was.
Yeah, it's Gorlick. I didn't know that was the person that you interviewed. I call him Wolf.
Y'all are just tearing it.
I thought it was a different person. Are you sure? You're sure that he was a national lockpick champion?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh boy. I look forward to the audio after the show here.
I'm going to have to listen to it too.
I look forward to the audio after the show here. Anyway, so we're gonna shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about news, and I don't know if you're a T-Mobile customer, but if you are, there's a good chance. Well, not a good chance. There's a chance that you were involved in the breach that just occurred on the 20th of August of 2018. So I found there's two links in our show notes. One to The Verge, which talks about the initial data breach. 2 million customers, and this is like the first story before they actually did the update. So they said roughly 2 million customers. Personal information loss was name, billing zip codes, phone number, email address, account numbers, and account type of user. According to the company, more sensitive information, financial data, social security numbers, and passwords weren't compromised in the attack. That's the important thing to remember here.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the initial like, oh, crap. Well, we probably need to say something. So we're just going to say this. And then 2 days later, let's see, where is it? Oh, yeah, updated. 4 p.m. Eastern Friday. Bad news. T-Mobile user passwords may have indeed been compromised. So if you are a T-Mobile user, you may want to change the one password that you use across 75 other things and the T-Mobile login. So they caught the breach quickly, apparently, according to T-Mobile. They caught the breach once they found it, I would imagine. So it'll be interesting to see when another news article comes out talking about, when it was finally, when they were finally owned and when they got in there. So they of course, they're still double down on the personal data, name, billing, zip code, phone number, email address, account number, and account type. But it's worse. They say none of your financial data or social security numbers were compromised, but the passwords were in fact leaked. And the problem with the passwords is, and I don't know if you guys are followers on Twitter, but a couple of months ago, T-Mobile Austria, which is a distinct different part or different company or subsidiary of T-Mobile, had some issues where support personnel could view passwords of people who are calling in, like the first 4 characters of the password.
Whoa.
Well,
That's
it's
all kind of wrong.
Yeah. It was a security thing. They wanted to make sure that the person knew what their password was, so they were giving password hints by giving the first 4 characters of the password, or 6 characters of the password. So according to Tom's guide, as of Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, they obtained a sample of... Great. So it's not... JGOR is not Jay Gorlick, by the way. Miss Berlin is very kindly mentioning in chat. And I'm sure any of you who know either one of those folks are screaming out, "You're an idiot." So...
I just texted Wolf and said... Did you suddenly get really good at lockpicking?
Hell. Well, any of you longtime listeners to the show...
because, weirder things have happened.
Yeah.
Like, people, use different nicknames all the time, and you never really know.
I'm going to have to find this gentleman now, because I've pasted J Wolfgang Gorlick's Twitter handle in our show notes. So, well, I'll leave it in there and just find Jay Gore's. So,
yeah.
So back to the story at hand. They found, they obtained the samples of the encrypted passwords, quote unquote, and turns out it's just a base 64 string that decodes to an MD5 hash.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah, and actually, wow. So even Tom's guide got this wrong, because they're saying base 64 is an easily reversible encryption algorithm, and anyone can decipher a base 64 string using online tools. Base 64 is not an encryption algorithm; it is an encoding algorithm. Yes, and MD5 is a hashing algorithm. We did a show about this, I don't know, 3 years ago. About
hash, but it's not encryption.
Yeah, it's definitely not encryption, and base 64 is not really security of any kind. So, so they're storing your passwords in an ineffectual format, no matter how you mix it. So,
we could have talked about this on episode 0.
We did talk about encryption, encoding, and hashing on one show, because we had developers at the company that Mr. Boettcher and I used to work for talking about MD5 encryption or whatever, and we just wanted to, hurt them physically by shaking them like a puppy, but we did not. We decided to do it on a podcast. So, Ms. Berlin, you work for a security provider with customers. Do you guys ever do any kind of password audits for your customers to go, hey, you're not really storing these in a proper format?
That is not a service we provide.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
It should be.
Our pen testers might.
Okay. Well, I would imagine they would run John the Ripper or something like that against anything they might dump hashes on to see if there's anything interesting there.
Previous jobs I've seen passwords come across in logs.
Right.
And then I've yelled at customers, but...
Right.
Or provided guidance.
Any company that does a code audit would I would think have to make sure that they've got proper hashing in, for their passwords.
Right. Well, my point is it's 2018 and why are companies still saving their passwords like this? Is this legacy technology that they've decided they didn't want to fix immediately, or I just don't understand.
Well, as Agent Smith said in The Matrix, no, it wasn't Agent Smith. It was the other guy. Ignorance is bliss, right?
Right.
If you just don't know, then how are you don't know what you don't know. So I don't think it's their fault for not knowing. Now, if someone did that purposefully, they knew they needed to do something better, but they just didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a cost savings. They needed to upgrade their computers in order to process something better than MD5.
Yeah.
It made their application way too slow to do anything more.
Yeah. My whole thing is that I don't think we've heard the last of this. I think as they continue doing the investigation, there's going to be yet another story that comes out saying that it was more than 2 million people. It was probably 40 or 50 million people or something. I don't, they're still doing the initial investigation, I would imagine. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what shakes out from this, because there's a lot of folks. T-Mobile's fairly large company here in the Seattle area, so it's definitely impactful as telecoms go. So, all right. So before we go, we have to talk about the CTF, the Derbycon CTF.
Yes.
So this is the thing we've been doing for the last 3 years. We started it out like simple challenges that me and Mr. Boettcher made up that, eventually people, solved them really, really quickly. And I felt like an idiot for, doing like a Sudoku puzzle or something with a code in it and finding out that, there's online websites that solve Sudokus for you. So we decided to do something different this year. We got with Matt Domko, who
called in the experts.
We called in the cavalry. Yeah. So Matt Domko, who goes by at #cyber. That's hashtag the word cyber on Twitter. Has a CTF framework that he's got built up, and he has graciously allowed us to use it for this contest. So what we are doing is we're going to have everybody go to a website called https://scoreboard.totallylegitsite.com. That is a real domain that he owns.
I don't know.
It's a totally legit site.com. What you're going to find there is you're going to find the ability for you to register with a username and an email address, and there'll be a password as well. But we're going to blow away all of this when we're done. So, you can put in a throwaway email if you'd want, but if you win, we're going to have some legit way of getting a hold of you. So just keep that in mind. If you want the ticket to Derbycon and you're the winner, we're going to need to get a hold of you. We also thank him for hosting this and allowing us to use his employee discount for the infrastructure. So I won't tell you where he works at, but it's a large retailing company that shares a name with a river in South America. Anyway, so some caveats: please do not attempt to pen test the environment, DDoS, or cause anything undesirable to happen to the site. All we want you to do is log in, get an account, create an account, view the page, submit the flags, leave everything else alone. That's all we want you to do. If you bring down the server, you're not going to win. Nobody else is going to win. And, we'll just give the ticket away to somebody else who could probably use it. So just something to think about. If you're going to shoot yourself in the foot and everyone else, just think about that. Yes, there will be challenges. Some of them are going to be fairly easy. I put one in that's a PCAP. Miss Berlin also did a PCAP challenge, I believe.
I did.
Okay. Mr. Boettcher has some challenges of a DFIR type nature?
Crypto type nature.
Crypto. Okay. All right. You did some crypto last year too. I think that went over fairly well. So
I have lots of potatoes.
You have lots of Miss Berlin's challenge is potato is a top
based. There's like I think I did three or four.
Wow. Okay, I did two.
All potatoes.
Right.
Hot
Okay.
potato, cold potato.
Cool. All right. So I did 2 challenges. Ms. Berlin did 3. Mr. Boettcher did a couple, 1 or 2.
One.
Okay. We even had David Sybuck, who is one of the moderators on our Slack channel. He did a trivia contest. So you're going to have to do some, you're going to have to do some Google dorking. You're going to have to look up some of the history of Derbycon. And some of these questions he's got on here are fairly hard or difficult.
Robust.
Yeah, you might actually have to reach out to the organizers of the conference to get some of these answers. So he did a really good job on doing a lot of research on that. So it was awesome. And I think the other person who put some on there was Tyler Hudak, who has done some training for us on reverse engineering in the past and debugging. He's going to be teaching a workshop at Derbycon. And he put a couple of challenges up on there too. So we got point system for that. It's got like it's got a theme, so you're like signing up to work for a company and doing jobs for that company, and the points are money that's going to be put into your account. So that's how the whole system works. So when you see the points and it says $7 or $8, that's the amount of money it's going to cost for you to, once you get the flag, that's the amount of money you're going to get from the quote unquote company. So that's how that's going to work. So is there anything else? So I'm going to give you a hint for one of mine. The flag on there. Oh no! You know what? I don't have to give you a hint. I think that's already in the description on the document on the scoreboard. So that's cool. I'm
not going to give any hints either, just because I don't want to.
Oh, yeah. All right, yeah. So
you already gave a hint. Pound sign.
Take that.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, I did give it.
Pound sign. All right, so there are. Let me see what else. The auction. So the chair. Go ahead.
Oh, you mentioned Tyler. I noticed he put a blog post on TrustedSec about tech support scams.
Oh.
So yeah, check that out.
Very cool. Now you're gonna have to find the link and put it in the show notes, dude.
Oh.
Put it in the show notes.
Also, I put JGOR's Twitter handle in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
It's Indicom.
Yeah.
This
okay.
is.
You might want to put Jay Gorlick's on there too. He's somewhat of a good dude, right? So
take him or leave him.
Sick burn. All right.
Ooh. I don't know if he listens either.
That's okay. No, nobody does. Even my mom don't listen. So
my mom listens sometimes.
Shut up! Really? That's
sometimes,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. So the last thing we have, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Mr. Boettcher, could you just read some of the stuff that's on the show notes having to do with the auction?
Where's it at?
I'm scrolling.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
In the middle. Awesome.
Right there.
All right. So if you want to win this ticket, the auction starts September 8th. It's going to be on Slack only, so you have to join the Brakesec Slack. The open-end bid is $175, and they're going in increments of $25. Okay, so you can't bid $301. All right, so 100% of this goes to Chris Sanders' Rural Technology Fund.
Right.
So you can also donate to Rural Technology Fund at ruraltechfund.org/donate.
Right. So I just put the time on there as he was reading this. It's going to start September the 8th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So please figure out whatever that is with your time zone. So it's noon Eastern. It's going to be, I don't want to even figure out what UTC is. I forget what we are right now for 7 or 8 from UTC. I think it's 8. Anyway, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. And, just figure out what it is if you're overseas and you really want to go to Derbycon. So this is going to be a ticket for Derbycon. If you are interested in going, 100% of the money goes to the Rural Technology Fund, like Mr. Boettcher said. I met Chris Sanders. He's on our Slack. He's actually very active on our Slack, which is awesome. And it's going to go to a great cause. So I'm really looking forward to that and making sure that everything happens in a
When is it over? Because that's the important thing, right?
Well, yeah, it's going to end that day. So it's going to end at like 6 p.m. Pacific time. So it's going to go for
that same day.
Yeah, it's going to go that same day. So it's going to be about 9 hours. And at the end of that, it's going to be whoever wins. So
what are the rules? Could you bid and then renege on your bid?
If you do, you're a dirtbag, and it'll be whoever's the next highest.
And we will kick you out of our Slack channel.
Yeah, that'll be you'll be the first person we ever kick out of our Slack. So,
ooh, can I do it?
Yeah, no.
Dibs.
Okay, so we need to kind of go because for some reason I am at 11% on my Surface Pro, and it doesn't appear to be charging properly. So,
okay.
I suck.
Let me mention my little thing real quick.
Yes, please.
All right, so you can go to derbycon.com/wellness. They gave me a very nice shortened URL to go to this fantastic Google Doc I have because I didn't want to create a website that gives you all the information on the workshop that I'm doing at Derby.
Okay.
And like how to help and what things are scheduled and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Derbycon. So it's definitely going to be it's the one thing that we do. This will be our third one. It's be Mr. Boettcher's fourth, and I think Miss Berlin's fifth or sixth.
Oh, our T-shirts are on the way to my house.
Really? I haven't got the invoice for that.
He said he was going to send it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to have some limited edition T-shirts,
like
stuff that
nice
you can't
T-shirts.
get online through our TPub shop because we have that. That's available.
Well, yeah, the TPub ones are way cheaper and I mean less quality, but the ones that we're going to be giving away at Derbycon are nice ones.
I've seen the one Miss Wendy Knox Everett. She bought one of our pink ones.
They're not bad,
and they're good. They're still good quality on the TPub site. But these are apparently the shirts that we're getting for Derbycon are the ones that the company Derbycon uses for shirts.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. All right. Well, I need to go because we're at 11%. I don't know why it's discharging. I have it plugged in. I seriously do have it plugged in. How does electricity work? I don't know.
Maybe you're using more power than it can charge.
Oh, sweet Lord. I hope not. Anyway. All right.
Turn off your AV scan.
Oh, you bastard.
Disable Java.
Disable Java, yeah.
Close Chrome.
Oh, this sucks. All right, so
vacuum cleaner by the vent and suck out all the dust.
There you go. Yeah.
You shake it and blow on it and put it back in.
That's my itches.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna have HR contact you on Monday for your innuendo.
Oh my God, my tweet from the other day. So many people are angry with me.
What, on the slutty carrot?
No. The how to get YouTube Red for free.
Oh, I did not see that.
You didn't see that one? Oh my gosh, it blew up like crazy.
Okay.
Like how to get YouTube Red for free. Step 1, type in youtube.com.
Right.
Step 2, replace you with red. Step 3, click go.
Oh. You're so wrong, man.
Like hashtag life hacks.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful.
So, yeah. Speaking of HR.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I think we need to go. Mr. Boettcher, how would people get a hold of you if they wanted to talk to you about, more lockpicking or LogMD, which I know is going to be figuring prominently at Derbycon with the table that we're going to have? How would they get a hold of you if they wanted to discuss all that?
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter at BoettcherPwned or log-md.com. We talk about the LogMD stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Ms. Berlin, same thing if they wanted to talk about mental health and wellness. How would they go about doing that?
Just listen to our previous podcast because it's all there.
Okay. But barring that, how would they contact you or whatever on Twitter?
Twitter works, at Infosister, INFOSYSTIR.
Cool. All right. You can, of course, follow Brakesec if you've liked what you've heard today. You can follow us on Twitter at Brakesec, BRAKESEC. And I'm available on Twitter as well, Brian Brake, BRYAN, BRAKE. And So let me ask you something. The @sluttycarrot Twitter, is that something you made up?
It was a ShmooCon thing that me and Chris John Riley and Jacob and DigiNinja all kind of made up late one night.
Okay.
I was wearing an orange shirt, and they called me a slutty carrot.
Oh my. So okay.
Now we all tweet from that account.
Okay. All right. Cool. So it's like a collective Twitter account.
Slutty carrot related things.
Okay. Enough said. All right. Anyway, so we have a Patreon. We use that to help support the show through audio upgrades. T-shirts if you want to buy T-shirts. Our TPub site is available. We can also get other things like stickers or coffee mugs. I think they'll do coffee mugs and stickers too, right? If you go to the TPub site.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of different stuff.
Right. There's a couple of shirts.
I got a couple tank tops.
Yep. Really good quality stuff. If you find value in what we do here with the knowledge and the education, and we have like 300 episodes or something, I think. We try to do one a week. And, if you find value in those, please feel free to leave us something in the tip jar. It's, something as much as $1 will go to help hosting us on Libsyn. So, we paid like $175 to make sure it's SSL enabled website, which is another thing sticking in my craw. We'll talk about it at a later date. And
dropped way too much on t-shirts.
I don't know. I think that's a good investment. I think we'll go with that.
It's advertising.
Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff. So, our Slack, if you want to join that, we're very active. We have a code of conduct. So if that's something that matters to you, we have not a code of conduct, but we call it a social contract. It's guidelines by which you should follow. We've never had to ban anybody yet. We've gotten really close. Scott and no. We got moderators. Scott Pack does a fantastic job of being a moderator. Dave Sybuck, Megan or Roddy. Got it right. Roddy Piper. Yeah. They're always there keeping the peace, and we kind of self-police everybody, which we feel, if everybody self-polices each other and themselves before they, say things or do things, it's about 90% of the battle over there. So,
and I've had several people come up to me either in DMs or conferences or whatever, and say how nice it is to kind of have a community like that there's never been any drama in. Knock on wood,
right.
But everybody's super nice, and we have good conversations and good technical stuff, and it's just full of super active participants that aren't Twitter fires.
Right. Yeah, we try to keep out the politics as much as possible or anything that is incendiary in nature. So, we try to do our best to, moderate those, or try to keep it, under wraps. And we also have things like a book club that's going on. Dave Sybuck is finishing up the practical packet analysis. I think we're going to probably do a bit of a hiatus on that until after Derbycon when we start the new book. He wants to probably take a few weeks off on that. But we have a CTF club that meets on Saturday nights, every other Saturday night. One was just held tonight, and we go over Hack the Box stuff because we have IPPSec, Nick Ippolito, who is one of the moderators over at Hack the Box. He does a lot of good YouTube videos. If you go look for IPPSec on YouTube, you can watch him walk through a bunch of the retired Hack the Box stuff. He's in there. We got a bunch of people who are helping out the noobs like myself get into, Hack the Box and doing vulnerable VMs. Got a lot of people in our sim and logging channel. We have a DFIR channel. All kinds of different, 20-some different channels about various things, PowerShell, Python, reverse engineering and debugging. We have a channel for my local meetup here in Seattle called CSEC East. So if you're interested in doing that, send us a DM on Twitter at Brakesec, or you can just send us an email at bds.podcast@gmail.com, and we'll get that turned around for you. So I'm good. Ms. Berlin, Mr. Boettcher, anything else before we go?
I don't have anything else, though.
Awesome. All right. Well, I hope everybody. Good. It's still trying to catch up on the charging. Oy vey with that. All right. So, good luck on the CTF. Good luck on the auction. May the odds be ever in your favor. And, we hope that you enjoy the CTF. I don't know how much in the way of hints we're going to give, but, try to do what you can to figure it out yourself before you go and ask for hints, because that's always important to learn on your own. So everyone have a great week. This has been Breaking Down Security. Be nice to one another, please. And we will talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
As you know, I was at DEF CON 26, and I caught up with JGOR, who is really good at lockpicking, and he's local to me in the Austin area. So I asked him if he wanted to do an interview with the podcast, and he said yeah. So I asked him, what it took to be the national lockpick champion. Here's what he had to say.
Well, it's funny because I didn't feel like any sort of champion when I first won that title. But looking back on it, I think what I have over a lot of my competition is I started to understand and break down into the discrete steps, what is happening at every single point when you're picking a lock. As opposed to, say, if someone's taking a rake and just kind of wiggling it around in there, they know that works for them sometimes. They don't really understand what's happening at each step, why the pins are setting or what states they might be in. Whereas I took the time to figure out exactly what's happening. Every time you push up on a pin, it'll click into place, or maybe it'll go too far. What does that feel like? What do the other pins feel like at that point? So bringing it down to the simplest possible state, I think, has helped me to get faster and faster at picking locks.
Okay, do you use a special set of lock picks? Do you use sort of the ones that do things automatically, or the ones with the rubber on them? I mean, do you have any special techniques when it comes to the tools you use? There
is, in this hobby, a lot of, I think the appropriate word would be fetishization of the tools. And I've sort of avoided that. I told myself from the beginning, I want to learn how to pick with any tool that I pick up. So if I'm using someone else's set, I want to be just as good at that as if I had my favorite, most expensive tool at home. So with that said, I just pick with short hooks, which there are hundreds of different types of short hooks. Every single manufacturer is different. But I just have trained on, in general, any short hook that I have in my hand, I'm going to be good at.
Has there been a lock you haven't been able to pick?
There are certainly locks that I haven't picked that I also don't know anyone else on the planet that have been able to pick. In terms of ones that have been handed to me that other people have been able to pick, I can't immediately think of one that I failed at.
Gotcha. And when you're picking a lock, do you need to take it apart first to be able to find out what mechanisms are inside of it? Or do you just kind of close your eyes and put your mind inside the lock as you're maneuvering the different components inside?
I think once you pick up the basic skills and the basic feeling, having taken apart a couple of locks during the learning process, you're able to apply that to locks you've never seen before and maybe don't even know what it looks like on the inside. You're able to figure that out by feel. What feedback are you getting through your tools? You kind of understand, this is this type of pin. I've dealt with this on this other brand, but I know how it feels when it sets, if it false sets, for example, and how to get out of the false set the best way. So you're able to apply previous knowledge to really any lock that you encounter.
And how does picking locks sort of apply to life? Have you ever, why do I do this? Is it just for sort of notoriety, or is it, I've been presented with this challenge, I know I can do it? I mean, why do you do what you do? And it's not a question of why are you so good at it, but why do you even do it in the first place?
That is an excellent question. I've heard some people describe lockpicking as like solving a Rubik's Cube in the dark. So there's very much a puzzle aspect to it that I think is really fun. Analytical puzzles in general are just something that's interesting to me. And then also applying it to, it's kind of kind of a taboo thing. It's a dark art that you're not supposed to know about. Only locksmiths are supposed to be able to open a lock, or criminals in the more interesting case. So the fact that you're able to do this at your own home, just once you understand a few basic principles, is really attractive. It's interesting to me. So once I realized it's not a magic trick, it's not actual magic, there's a trick behind it, I think I just wanted to learn the trick in every way possible.
And it also helps know to keep your own home safe, right? To know which locks are crap and which ones are pretty decent, right? So also for those sort of interested in it but haven't gotten into lockpicking, I mean, do you have any advice for beginners?
Yeah, there's tons of resources out there now on learning how to pick locks and getting into it as a hobby that didn't exist, for example, a decade ago. One great resource is locksport.com, and we've got a comic book style guide hosted up on there. You can download a PDF, and it's basically a 20-page glossy style comic book that shows a breakdown of the lock, what all's going on, the different components in there, and then even how to make your own lock picks at home if you don't have official ones, and then actually picking the lock. Other great resources, tool.us, TOOOL.us. They run probably the most widespread hobbyist groups around the US and even around the world at this point. So it's great to go on their website and look up if there's a chapter near you that you can just stop by and learn from people in person. But if you can't, again, locksport.com and check out that comic book guide.
All right, JGOR, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.